Hey friends, welcome. I'm Christine. We are going to be diving into some after Christmas winter decor. I'm working on Valentine's Day for you guys, but we're going to get through this one first because this will serve us past Valentine's Day. Anyhow, I had picked this up a while ago and I had painted it at one point and decided I didn't like that. So it's already painted again with I believe that's cottage white from Folk Art. So anyhow, now I'm just going over it and distressing it. And I have this beautiful piece of paper from Decoupage Central. You can see it off to the side. So I'm just distressing right now with my little finger sander. I like that look. If you don't like that look, if you like a more polished look, then certainly leave that out. And then look at this beautiful deer. So I'm just going to see where he fits best, kind of make a little rim with my finger there, and then I'm going to cut that out. That just helps to position it a little bit. Now I'm using Mod Podge, but I'm also going to use my spray water bottle, and I'll try to remember to get you a link down below for a great one that I found on Amazon as well. But what the water does when you mist it is it just kind of opens up those fibers. It lets you have more time to work with your paper so you can move it around. And you're going to see me, I'm just laying down my Mod Podge here, but you're going to see me, I put it down and then I notice that there's a little piece of the corner still showing. So it's given me time to reposition it as needed. Like I said, it opens up all those fibers good. So I don't find it necessary to use my little brayer or to use saran wrap or anything to smooth it out. I get absolutely no wrinkles usually when I use the spray bottle. So I'm just going to lay this down and then I'm going to come in with my finger sander once it has dried, and I'm going to take off around the edges, and it's so satisfying when you get a big piece coming off. So I'm just going to sand it off. Just make sure on your projects when you decoupage that when you sand it to get that paper clean around the edges, that you do go away from your project. If you come towards you, you could rip your paper. Over my head, I hope you know these words that I've said are true. 'Cause when you do, you'll know how beautiful you are. Once I finished, I came in with my Dixie Belle brown whites. Now, this got a little too dark for me, so I didn't show it, but after I put the brown whites down and wiped it back with just a paper towel, I did end up coming back with some white whites and going over it as well because it was a little too dark for me. It just looked a little too antiqued. So I go over the entire thing with the white whites, and then this project is finished. Take time to see what I see. There's nothing, darling, you cannot be. It's true. I hope you do know how beautiful you are. I want you to know how beautiful you are. You could never be last place. You're like a smile I can't erase. No. Oh, how beautiful you are. Oh, how beautiful you are. On to project 2. I picked up this little saucer for like 29 cents at Hobby Lobby. You never know what you're going to find. And I didn't know what I was going to use it for, but I've got a great idea, you guys. So I've got one of those little rounds that came from Hobby Lobby as well. You get a pack of multiple of them. And then just a little hanger, and I'm just using the little triangular one because I'm just going to glue it with some Type Bond Quick and Thick glue. And then I've got that beautiful Snowman paper from Decoupage Central. I'm just using that white again, and like I said, I'm pretty sure it's cottage white. I'm going to be using that for my last project as well. So I'm just going to paint my little wood round good, and I didn't show you, but I painted my little saucer as well. Now I'm taking the little ring, once my paint is dry on the little wood round, and I'm going to glue that with Quick and Thick and just clamp it, let it dry completely. There's not enough space to put the little nail, so you've got to glue it, and this Thick and Quick worked perfect for it. And what I'm going to do is, because it fits perfect on the back of that saucer, you're going to see me. I'm going to come back with the Quick and Thick once I've got my decoupage paper in there, and then I'm going to glue that to the back so that this saucer is able to stand up just in a vignette, or you can actually hang it. Once my paint was dried on my little saucer, since it is a very porous surface, I can come back with a little wet wipe, my little Lysol wipe, and distress it that way. If it was wood or another surface, you could use the finger sander as well. So I just checked with my little snowman to see which one fit best. And again, I'm just going to kind of use my finger. I don't have any fingernails unless they're fake. I cannot keep fingernails. So I'm just using my finger to make me a little line just to cut by. And I didn't show you cutting that out. It's not necessary. I'm going to lay my Mod Podge down in there. And then I'm going to put my little paper in there. Now when it is dry, I do come back with my X-Acto knife just to get a very good line. But it did take off some of the paint. So you're just going to see me with a little small brush. I'm coming in with that paint and just touching up where it took off. And also just to kind of blend that paper in there a little bit better. And then I'm just going to take my Quick and Thick and I'm going to glue that little wood round to the back of my little saucer. And then this project is complete as well. Remember to always seal your projects too. I don't always show you guys me sealing them, but whether you use a wax. Now the first one was sealed because we did use the waxes, but always make sure that you do seal your projects. And y'all just make sure when you're gluing something to a surface that's got a hook and you need to hang it, that your hook is at the top of your project. Don't ask me how I know, because I can't tell you how many times I've messed up. How adorable is this little snowman sitting up in a little vignette? Okay, you guys, last project, and this one has a lot of moving parts, so hang in there with me. I love this one. This is a little tissue box. Now, it is wood, but on top it has a little paper to it, so I'm just going to use some spray, my spray bottle again with water, soak it down real good and remove that paper. I'm using Dollar Tree wood blanks. I'm just going to use one of them, and look at this beautiful decoupage paper from Roy Cycle. I believe this was called Winter Blocks. I think I got it last year. I'm going to use the little polar bear and one of the little houses. You're just going to see me working through getting this off, and I use my little Scotty Pillar, I think it is. I never say that right. But this is fantastic for this and getting off price stickers. That's really what it's made for. It's great, you guys. So I'm just going to work through getting this off. And then once I have it all removed, I am using a folk art paint called Blue Suede or Suede Blue Suede, I think it is. You'll see it in a minute. It is a beautiful color. But now, since I had to work so much, this paper had some glue to it. I did use my wet wipe and clean it up real good and use my spray bottle. I even used my little finger sander here. But I was afraid there might still be some glue, a little bit of texture left. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and use a stippling movement to put the paint down. That's going to give you a little texture. Now you could add some sea salt spray, some baking soda. You could add some of that to it, but you're just going to see me, and yes, it did take a while. but I like the looks of it. It looks like it has texture without having too much texture. But then, like I said, I'm just making sure I cover my surface. I was scared with brush strokes that if it did have any residue or anything, that it wouldn't look clean. So I'm just going around the whole surface, and then I'm going to let that dry. And once dry, I had these stencils. I think I got these from Amazon. If I can find them, I'll try to link them. But I thought they would just be perfect for winter decor. I'm going to tape off the snowman because I could have put him in there, but he wouldn't have shown all the way. I just want the words "Let It Snow." So just use your painter tapes to tape off what you don't want to. And then I'm using that cottage white again. So on that side, I'm going to put the words "Let It Snow." And on the other side, out of that same stencil set, I've got some snowflakes. Now, they didn't quite fit all the way across because it was a smaller stencil. So I just finished one part and then came over and laid it side by side and put my snowflakes down right beside it. And you'll see that here in a minute. And then I'm going to let that dry completely, and I'm going to work on that decoupage paper. Now when I'm doing stencils, I usually do kind of a stippling and circular motions. It gets the paint all the way to the edge without going underneath. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of bleeding, but then just come back and touch up that paint. And because I am not very patient, I did use my hair dryer. I don't have a heat gun. I don't know why I don't have a heat gun. I just use my hair dryer. Works fine to help speed up the process here. That's the beauty of chalk paint. It dries quickly anyhow, but just use a heat gun or a blow dryer and you'll have your results dry in no time. Alright, stencils are done, and they went on the long edges. So on the other edges, I'm going to do my decoupage paper. Now, I don't know if I told you guys, but this was a tissue box, but I'm not using it for that. So I flipped it upside down. That's going to make sense here in a little bit. So that's why you see the hole on the bottom where the tissue would normally come through. Now, I used a small paintbrush with water around both the little house and the little polar bear just to get more of an organic look to it. You could use some little small detailed scissors and what they call fussy cut, and that means really get around the edges and cut every detail, but there would have been a lot to cut out. But when I'm doing the house, you guys are going to see I messed this up. Oh. But decoupage paper, really, you can piece it together and make it look fun. So it ends up okay. But for some reason, I took a big dip in the roof. Did y'all just see that? Like, I think I was trying not to get the tree, but I got a dip in the roof. You're going to see me patch that. And in the end, you can't tell I messed it up at all because that blue paint that's on there matches perfect to the blue that's in that background. Thank goodness. So anyhow, I'm just going to lay those down with my Mod Podge, let them dry, and they are on the opposing short ends. And then I'm going to come in again with my little finger sander and work off the edges. And then you're going to see me piece in that little part. And then I'm going to take a little paintbrush and go around both the polar bear and fix that house with that blue. I just thought it looked too rough. So when I'm doing the blending with the paint, it just blends everything together. Now, I forgot to tell you guys, I'm not sure I showed that either. I think I do. Oh, you see my mistake? Christine, whatever. But since I'm putting it on a dark surface and I didn't want to paint my box ends white, I'm going to paint the back of my papers white and let them fully dry. Now, I will say it curls your paper a little bit, but just be patient and work with your Mod Podge around the edges and you can spread that out. But you want the white underneath because it's going to make your paper pop up against that dark surface. And you'll see what I'm talking about here when I get through. But if you don't paint it white on the back, it's going to be pretty, but your details get lost. That's what the white paint does. So a lot of times we'll just paint our whole surface the white and then lay our decoupage paper down. But if you're not covering an entire surface and you want your surface a darker color, this is the way you get around that. While I'm letting the paint on the back of the decoupage paper, I'm going to take that little wood blank. It covered perfectly. I'm just going to take some wood glue and glue around the inside of my little box and lay that piece down. And then I just put something heavy in the bottom to glue that down. Now, I'm not concerned about it fitting perfectly because I'm going to make this a little flower planter box. So I just needed to cover the hole. And this worked perfectly. See, gotta think outside the box. Maybe that wasn't funny. I don't know. Anyhow, you'll see me working here with my papers just to get them on, let them dry, and like I said, then you're gonna use your little sander to come around the edges and get a crisp edge, and I'm gonna fix my mistake. Alright, everything's dry. Here's my little piece to fill in. So I'm going to line it up. And you just got to be good at lining up. And I did paint the back of it as well. I'm going to use my Mod Podge to lay that little piece in there. Now, once it is dry, I'm coming in with that paint. And because it matches that blue in the background perfectly, I'm just going to feather that around. And it's going to look like a shadow on the roof. And like the shadows that they have already in the trees as well. You can't tell that this was pieced together. So just keep in mind, if you mess up, y'all, I mess up all the time. Trust me. So you can piece your decoupage papers together. And especially if you do that organic edge to it, you'll never know. You can see me here. I'm doing a little more than blending. I decided that I didn't like all that negative space. I really wanted to get closer to the bear. So I'm just taking that paint and just painting over the paper. And it works perfect. Once it dries, it just blends so smooth. But I really just didn't like all that negative space, all that white. So if you were just going to lay just the bear or any animal down, maybe you do want to try fussy cutting. I'm not the greatest with a pair of scissors, not going to lie. So this worked perfect for me. And then I'm just touching up some where I had gotten some extra white paint off of the stencils. Touch that up. And then, like I said, I'm going to come in and touch up my house. And then we're going to work on the rest of this project. Alright, now I'm probably going to put this in my booth, but I wanted to give somebody the option to take the flowers out, do something different than this little box if they wanted. So I did not hot glue my little floral foam in there. I just put it in there. And I'm just using some random winter picks that I had left over, some berries, pine cones. And then I'm just sticking those in there, and I'm going to use some reindeer moss. Is that right? Anyhow, it's the moss from Dollar Tree, and I've not been able to find it this year. But I like that moss. I like Spanish moss too, but it makes a complete mess. So the reindeer moss is more put together. It's kind of it's not wet, but it just kind of feels like it's got a wetness to it. That makes sense. I'm just going to put that in there to cover up all that extra floral foam because I didn't fill this up with flowers. But then this is done. How cute of a little crate to put anything in to display it. But I'm going to show you every side because every side's different. I don't know which one I would show all the time. Maybe I'd have to turn this thing around every day. Let me know which side's your favorite. Let me know which project's your favorite. This last one took the longest. I really enjoyed it. You guys, I'm sorry for my voice. This 4 weeks that I've had this crud, which is why I haven't had a new video up to. I've been struggling with this stuff. But I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas season. And so far, I hope your new year has been blessed. You guys, I love you. Give me some comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to hit 1,000. Oh my gosh, y'all, it's been over 2 years. Kind of struggling. I'm still learning. I'm going to get there. And you guys are supporting me, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.